One day our buffalo got lost, and I went looking for it. I saw a few people who spoke something that I didn't understand. I was scared and ran away. They came, touched my shoulder, and said, "No problem." But of course, I didn't understand what they said, and I was really scared. I came back and told my parents that I saw 3 people with big noses and blue eyes, and my parents said, "They are foreigners, and they are going to cut your neck and take your head away in a plastic bag." I was horrified. When I went to the market after that with my grandmother, I saw similar people. They said, "My name is, what's your name?" and pointed to me, but I didn't know what they said. And they said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting on their fingers, and I tried to imagine what Mom would say as they did that. And they pointed to my hat and my shirt, but I didn't know what they wanted. Once I gave a person my hat and he gave me some money. I came back to show my parents and they said it was only 5,000 dong. Then I realized that people wanted to buy it, and I sold them the old stuff that we had. Before, we threw it away, but now we could sell it.
This Hmong girl's description of her first interaction with a tourist in Sapa was reported by the Vietnamese anthropologist Giung Bit Hat. Until the 1990s, Hmong villagers in remote mountainous regions of the Golden Triangle were physically isolated from much of the outside world. Cultural, work, and family traditions changed very slowly over the millennia, during which the economy was built around subsistence farming, small batch artisanal work, and highly localized markets. In pre-modern times, when starvation was common and there was little security outside the family, clan, and tribe, change bore the high risk of death. But these risks are no longer present, and as a result, the last 50 years has seen dramatic changes in these remote villages. The Golden Triangle is only one of the areas undergoing these changes, but one with a very rich and diverse cultural legacy. 20 years later, Sapa is now a thriving tourist center made possible by major advances in transportation and communications. What happens to the people in very traditional, very remote villages when cross-country motorbikes, satellite dishes, and mobile phones arrive? That question is the focus of the stories we present in this film. My first experience with Hilltribe villagers was in northern Thailand in 1987. After a 4-hour minibus ride from Chiang Mai and a 5-hour trek through rice fields, I arrived at an Akha village that seemed little changed over the millennia. I was taken with the elaborate headdresses worn by the women, Village entertainment consisted of nightly gatherings of the men to talk and smoke. My next encounter with Hilltribe villagers came in 1996 when I visited a Hmong village outside of Sapa in northern Vietnam. I remember walking into a bamboo-sheltered metal foundry and finding villagers making farming tools the same way they had for 100 years. When I showed them my video camera, they were amused and amazed. I don't think they had seen video of themselves before. When I walked back to Sapa, I saw young Hilltribe teenagers pressing their faces into the windows of small restaurants, showing Bollywood music videos on satellite TV. And in my hotel the next morning, I watched the final game of the NCAA basketball playoffs in the United States, half a world away, live.
Do you have CNN?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I wondered how long it would take for this peek into the outside world to change the lifestyle of the traditional villages I had been visiting. My wife Olga and I would visit remote Hilltribe villages again 4 times over the next decade to document how changes in transportation and communications were influencing the villagers' lives. How would this injection of global markets and global culture affect these culturally isolated communities? Will better access to markets lead to consolidation and replace subsistence farming as a way of life? Will global communications drive a global culture that replaces the rich diversity of Hilltribe cultures that have evolved over hundreds of years? Various ethnic minorities live in the mountainous regions of Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Burma, and the southern portion of Yunnan province in China, including the Hmong, Red Dao, Akha, Lisu, and many others. Over the last 150 years, these Hilltribe people have remained primarily subsistence farmers with little access to markets. Those groups that arrived earliest occupied the most fertile lower areas of land and were able to grow enough rice and vegetables to barter locally for other goods. We will focus on 2 of these Hilltribe communities, the Hmong outside of Sapa and the Akha in northern Laos. There are many Hmong subgroups, but they are all believed to have begun their migration south from the Yangtze River Basin in southern China in the 18th century due to political unrest. They are not defined by their affiliation with any single country. Rather, they remain identifiable as Hmong by practicing their own language and customs while adopting the ways of the country in which they live. The Hmong have no written records. Their history has been passed down through legends, ceremonies, and textile art from one generation to the next. The Akha made their way from China to Southeast Asia over 100 years ago, spreading into Thailand, Laos, and Burma, where they are often the dominant Hilltribe in their area. For the most part, these various ethnic groups lived in peaceful cohabitation throughout the many valleys and migrational paths into the region. The steep hillsides, deep valleys, and lack of roads provided security from outside forces, and as a result of their isolation, created an environment conducive to retaining cultural integrity. Most tribes remained relatively isolated from Western influences until the 1960s, when the Indochina Wars brought Europeans and Americans in large numbers to the Golden Triangle. But in the short 25-year time span during which we made our visits, the people in both the Hmong and Akha villages we documented have begun to change dramatically. Peng approached us in the market in Sapa to buy her handicrafts. She was a 13-year-old Hmong girl whose self-taught English was remarkably good. Peng is part of the generation of Hmong girls around the Sapa Valley who are coming of age during this time of rapid change. Peng, like many her age, has begun to embrace the market economy as a supplement and possible replacement to farming. She asked me to read a letter she received from a tourist.
We are very happy that we have met you in Sapa. Our daughter, Aliyah, like you very much.
We hired some motorcycle taxis to take us to Peng's village, normally a 3 to 4 hour walk from Sapa. Along the way, we see steep hillside terraces being intensively farmed by various ethnic groups who inhabit different villages in the Sapa Valley. Before hiking up the mountainside to Peng's village, we stop at her school near the road.
Before I start here, so now I finished school. My brother's school here, also my sister's school here.
Peng supports her family by selling handmade goods. We asked her how she splits her time between her village and Sapa.
I stay here, the village, so many days. So I go only just 3 days. I come back. Sometimes I only stay 1 week. Only sometimes I need to go 3 days. I come back.
We set out on the path up the mountain to Peng's mother's fields. Along the way, we see how villagers use running water to operate a primitive rice threshing machine. Except for the use of water buffalo, the farming is all done by hand. We meet her friend T and her sister Shun coming along the path. We recognize T as another Hmong girl who sells handicrafts in Sapa.
Is this your mother?
My mother's name is So.
So.
Yeah.
And does your mother sew any of the things that you sell in Sapa? Yes? And where are those things?
To my village.
In your house?
Yeah.
Yes.
So before my father died so very early. Only just my mother.
So then your mother had to work the fields by herself.
Yeah.
That's very hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you help her?
Yeah.
As we head up the hill to Peng's village, we see several Hmong men carrying corrugated roofing. With increased access to the market, aluminum and other metals are replacing traditional roofs made of thatch and bamboo.
And I see that that man is wearing a T-shirt, and but some of the Hmong men wear traditional clothes.
Em có nghĩ là em sẽ mặc quần áo người Kinh này mấy năm nữa không?
Thì mà ở giống như người Kinh thôi. Nhưng mà ông ấy thì trẻ khi mà ở nhiều Mông, nó bảo là mà ở nhiều Mông thì
In the village, everyone wear traditional clothes, and if she changes her clothes, and you know, like people in the village will upset.
Does your mother work in fields that your family has, or do you work for other people?
my family.
Your family. So your family's fields are 2 kilometers from here. And is this your pig?
Yeah.
And your chickens?
Yeah.
And when you walk from here to Sapa, how long does it take you?
I don't know, maybe 3 hours, maybe 2 hours. I don't know.
Your parents don't say, Hem, come work in the fields. Don't go to Sapa. They don't say that?
My mother sometimes say that, but sometimes not say.
Uh-huh.
Normally they married early, right? And have many children. Go on the farm, think about simple life. Spend very short time in the school because they don't really care about education.
The Hmong build their homes directly on the ground, rather than on stilts like the Akha, and follow a rather basic design, with thatched roof and walls of either wood or bamboo. Peng's family is too poor to buy a metal roof. Electricity has not come to Peng's village. Instead, her house uses an oil lamp for light at night. The kitchen is very basic. Pigs are very valuable. They provide for village feasts during marriage celebrations And with a thriving Sapa market, pigs can easily be sold to get cash to buy needed manufactured goods.
Pem, we said that when we came to your village, we would buy some things that were made here.
What do you want to buy? So you want to buy ball? This one, like that.
The pillow.
This one or this one?
How much for that one? How much for that one? And how much for that one?
I don't know. You say how much?
Ask a price that you would add. The first price you would ask a foreigner in Sapa. For three. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Pem, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe we'll see you in Sapa.
Yeah, so next week I come back Sapa.
Bye.
In 2006, a new road was built from China through northern Laos, helping turn this little junction into a small market outpost. Markets like this help bring a money economy to this remote area. The new road is only a half-day's walk from their village, so now they can more easily buy and sell goods and be connected to the outside world. This particular village is home to about 70 families, about 430 people. As soon as the sun comes up, villagers come outdoors to start their daily routines. The nights are cold at this high altitude, so we were grateful to have slept in the chief's house. The new road has already begun changing village life. They have installed a TV and satellite dish, and the children are now wearing manufactured shoes and clothing from China, which villagers can buy by selling their livestock in the market. The evenings felt surreal. Each night, villagers would huddle in the chief's hut to watch television programs from around the world. The TV was powered by a car battery that took all day to charge by the small paddle wheel generator in the nearby stream. Before their favorite soap opera came on, we watched a fashion show from New York. We couldn't help but wonder what they were thinking as images from around the world flashed across the screen in this remote mountain village. The next morning, we spoke to the chief about some of the recent changes he's seen in the village.
When did the road become good?
The road they have made very good road just 1 year ago.
And now with the road, is it easier to sell the animals? They get more money from the animals?
After they have the road, it's very easy for them to sell the crop and animal, everything.
For hundreds of years before entering the money economy, these people used bamboo pipes to carry water for irrigation and for daily use. Now they're starting to use plastic pipes.
What does he remember about life that's different from now when he was a child?
He said the most important part in the past when he was young, they have no school, so they have no knowledge. Before everybody, they have to wear the traditional dress and then have to make by themselves. This make change. Before, the really traditional house is not like this. Everything is making by bamboo. In next 10 years, it will be changed everything, even the culture. For the older people, they said they have to keep the traditional culture, that they have to live here and for farm. But the idea of the teenager, they have to think. First, they have to go to school, and after, if they finish school, they can find a job. Sure, they have to work for the factory or they have to stay in the city. They will never come back to the mountain for farming.
Maybe for his own children, would he prefer that they get an education and get jobs, or come back and live in the village also?
For his own children.
He said if his children come back to the village and just to work for farming, in the future it could be very hard, like him. So he decided to support the education for the kid. And after they finish school, so they can find a job and stay close to the road. The life is much better than stay in the mountain.
When we left the village and walked down to the nearest town, we saw the new, more modern steel electrical generators from China submerged in the river. With the new road here, generators are now readily available in the market and replacing the traditional bamboo paddle wheel generators. I returned to Sapa in 2010, 9 years after our visit to Peng's house. The tourist industry in Sapa had grown significantly, with many more Westerners and now Chinese tourists in large numbers. Motorcycles were more common. The motorcycle taxi industry had shrunk, as many villagers could now afford their own motorbikes. They could sell their crops in the market and sell handicrafts and services to tourists. They were now well entrenched in the money economy. Television was no longer a special peek into the outside world. Cell phones now made the world accessible on demand.
The name of your village again?
Hilltribe.
Are you from Hilltribe also?
Yes, same village.
Same village.
Yes, different house.
And when you come here to sell,
Yes.
do you stay overnight?
Tonight we stay here.
Tonight?
Yeah, tomorrow night we be back to my village.
I see. By walking?
Yes.
How many kilometers?
10 kilometers.
How long does it take you?
Okay, 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yes.
Whoa, long way.
My knee very hurt.
I bet. Where did you get your hat? I like your hat, yes.
I buy it's a barbecue.
Oh yeah?
Yes. It's the Vietnamese people.
I like it.
Like it is black and gold.
That's tradition.
Yes.
Yes. How old are you?
25.
Where did you learn English?
We live for tourists.
You learn for tourists.
Yes. And you shopping from me, okay?
You know, I have a friend, a Hmong friend.
You have Hmong friend?
In Sapa.
What's her name?
Shu.
Sue?
Yeah?
Living in Lot Chai?
Now she's working here in a hotel.
Yes.
You know her?
I know. I know. And she tourist guide, eh?
Yes.
I know her.
Yes.
Shu is well known in Sapa. We first met her 9 years ago. She and Peng had been friends.
My name is Shu. This is Lao Chai village. I was growing here and born here. Now I'm 24 years old.
Tell me about the first time you remember going to Sapa. Was it with your mother?
No, when I first time I go to before that I go to Sapa not for sale. I follow my mother or my father go to the market. But when I go to Seoul, we have a group of friends. We go to each other. We go together. And the first, we usually walk here to Sabah and then walk there back home. During like that after 1 or 2 years, then we find a place in Sabah. We stay in the Sabah so we can sell a little more. When we go to sell, then we can get a little bit of money to help my parents. I remember my parents were very poor. So when we go work, then we can bring some money to help parents. That would be good thing for parents. Because I had to help my parents, I couldn't go to school. And my parents, they want me to help. So that's why my job is looking after the buffalo.
Can you tell me about the first time you met Western tourists?
They are a friend, two couple. They are from Holland. I was very small with a little basket, and I see the can. They have big backpack. I walk around with them to the hotel and talking them. That's a two couple I will remember very well. They are from Holland.
Did you speak English then?
No, I didn't speak English. Actually, I just know how to say, hello, how are you, what's your name? Or something like, you buy for me.
And where do you work now?
Now I work in Sabah.
Do the Hmong people own many of the businesses?
No, they do not own any business in Sabah.
Economic power in Sapa is controlled by the Vietnamese people, not the local Hmong, who are considered by many Vietnamese to be a lower social class. But things are changing.
I think if they're better life, education is important. Nothing is different. Nothing better than education. If they go to school, they have more opportunity to read, write, and hear about news or radio or thing. That would be easier for them. Even my parents, they do not speak Vietnamese. My mother and my father don't speak Vietnamese at all.
So how do they learn things?
They don't learn things. They just know how to do rice field and cornfield home. Yeah, and tourists come to here now, and my mother just know how to say, oh, hello, buy for me. That's all. So education, I think, is important for the local people here to know. Even the young generation now and the old generation, they can learn about environment or keep the culture better, or keep the village green with a lot of tree, a lot of mountain, or a lot of things like vegetable. They can grow their own. They can grow everything they have. But one thing I want the Hmong or other minority people, they have their own business and they can continue their business and improve their life for education. Because if you want to go to school, if you want to go to university, or when you study like that, you need to have money. And this university or thing, you need to go to Hanoi for a good education. And then these people, maybe they can come back and help, because there are other minority people, they understand the minority people better.
And you had to learn on your own how to English and how to sell, and then how to become a guide. Who teaches the young girls now?
I just do it. I remember the first tour I took, I think I was 16 years old. And she asked me to come work in the hotel and be a tourist guide. The first time I see tourists, I was their guide. Even I don't know how to cook, even I don't know the way, but I live in this area, I can follow the road, it's easy. She gave me a job and I learned from that. I learned from what I'm doing. I know that sometimes mistake speaking or doing things, but I learn from my mistake.
I saw Shu using the internet and was curious when she first got internet access.
Not so long, 4 or 5 years. We usually ask the tourists write their address for us, and we write our address, and we keep their little photo, little picture, and and we take together, or they go home, they take some picture, they send back by email. We don't need to send letter anymore. This time we use write email and contact other friends. Our tourists, our friends, they from outside, in the overseas, everywhere in the world.
So when did you get a Facebook page?
My Facebook page, I just get it's not so long. I think 2.5 years ago. The tourists they show us to do it. They just come here and show you this. Or even now in the street, a lot of girls, they hang around with some tourists. They come from different countries. They say, "Follow me. I can show you this. I help you to make a new account, Hotmail or Yahoo or Facebook." Even like my cousin, she's just like 12 years old. She has a Facebook.
Shu uses Facebook to promote homestays in her village of Lao Chai and to support a nonprofit school she organized for other Hmong girls so they could learn English and serve the tourist trade. Many of the friends she has made from around the world help support her school.
Tell me about how things have changed in the last 12 or 13 years that you've been going to Sapa.
Yeah, changed a lot. A lot of hotel, a lot of restaurant, a lot of people. Before even like 15 years, here no motorbike. Now they have fancy hotel, fancy restaurant, even bar. Motorbike, lot of television.
Tell me about the first time you saw television.
When I go to Sapa, I see television, but only black and white television. I think it's very interesting. I like to watch a lot. Even I think Sapa bring for me everything I see. Everything I need to see is in Sapa area. Yes.
So once you started going to Sapa, did you ever come back and work the fields with your mother?
Yes, I do. I used to come home and work the rice field with my parents, but not very often because when I was tourist guide, I was very busy too.
When did you get a mobile phone?
I get a mobile phone, I think I get a mobile phone maybe around 3.5 years already.
And how did that change your life?
That changed that I can contact to people easily, to contact that easily and work better.
What kind of future do you hope for your daughter? What do you see for her?
I would like to my daughter go to the best university she can, but that's why I had to work very hard to afford this. If you want to do something, you do it, and that's an amazing thing. It's not just saying like, oh, just coming, nothing's coming. You have to want to do it and lucky enough. For in my future, I like to bring happiness. My happiness is other people's happiness. So the meaning like I want to build something like to maybe like training the class for other friends that have more skill and they have better job and they can help better themselves, better their parents, and share this knowledge to others.
I wanted to find Peng and her mother Sao, whose home we visited 9 years earlier. Shu knew where they lived and agreed to take me there with an American journalist interested in our story.
Thank you for letting us visit you again.
I go
9 years ago, my wife and I met your daughter in Sapa. And when we came last time, there was no electricity. Now I see that Sue has electricity. How has that changed her life?
Thảo bút thảo chưa sống được cái nói thảo cứ tua thảo tự ái tua này hả?
giờ vô tức là có nhìn được chứ thế là ít là ít dùng xoa.
Yes, she said that their life changing better. You know, when around 9 years you was here, they didn't know my their house. When Payne go to work in tourist guide and selling things, she was bring some money home to help the parents to build the house or all of those things. So now their lives a little bit better.
How long ago did electricity come here?
Yeah, the electricity will here will be around 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
And I see that over there, somebody has a satellite dish and television. Do they ever watch television here in the village?
Yes, they see movie, they have TV, and they see some kind of movie like TV show, I think from Laos or Thailand or other place.
And we wondered all these years what happened to Ping. And can you?
So after that, she was tourist guide, and she get married with her husband around 3 years, and they had like around 3 years in the town. They have baby. Their daughter called Lam, this Lam.
Hi, Lam.
And after that's around after 2.5 years, she divorced because this man is draw or small opium, nothing like this. And she's divorced.
He smoked opium.
Yes.
And then what happened to Ping?
She said that when Peng divorced her husband, and she go back to Sabah and work at tourist guide. And then she walked around and take her daughter with her to Sabah. That day when she went to Lao, she called her friend, her roommate Dong, in the afternoon. In the morning she leave. In the afternoon she called to Dong. So asked Dong to cook the clothes to in the house, and then asked. Payne said to Dong that if I do not cancel, can you keep my clothes and keep dry from outside in the house? So then she turned off the mobile phone and nobody contacted her anymore.
And how long ago was that?
She gone about 4.5 months already. Her sister said that somebody going like that. They have contact with some boy. They know this person well, but this person just came into liar and bring them to sell.
Do you think they usually go away because they're promised more money, better jobs?
The bad person just say something to like, for example, normally they are friend, their cousin, or they are boyfriend. Still they are. So ask them go to some other place and to like, well, we go to this area and then we come back later. But they do not go. They go and they do not come back. Because that's far away. These girls, they don't know where they are. And they just sell to some other place for maybe over to China or over to other country.
So you think they're in China?
Yeah. Payne, our younger sister, go before that Payne.
I see.
Yeah, Payne go and Payne's sister go first and then Payne.
And how old was Ping's younger sister when she went?
She's around 21, 22 years already. But, she had a boyfriend. And her boyfriend came in here, work with them together, and they don't know what happened. So I think, they think that she follow her husband, the boyfriend go, and the boyfriend sell her to China, and they don't know where it's going.
With the Chinese border only 45 minutes away, sex slave trafficking of young Hmong girls from Sapa is becoming an increasingly serious problem.
9 years ago, Ping was already in Sapa. She was a young girl.
Yes.
How did Sue feel about her daughter going away to Sapa, to the city?
Her daughter go to Sapa and selling things for support family a little bit.
And who helps her in the fields?
Her doing with the field and her boy, her son, and her daughter-in-law.
I see.
Yes.
Does her son and daughter-in-law live with her?
Yes.
In this house?
Yes.
How many people live in this house? I want to thank you for letting us visit you again. I hope next time we come, it will be under better circumstances and Peng will be here.
The Hilltribe villagers in the Golden Triangle have seen disruptive cultural change over the last 25 years. Historically, they were mostly subsistence farmers living on the fringe of the money economy. For them, the trek by foot to market was a long and exhausting journey. Going to market was a special event, done a few times a year at most, in order to get necessary provisions. Starting in the 1990s, those same villagers could get to market weekly, some even daily, using motorcycle taxis specially equipped with knobby tires that could traverse steep and muddy footpaths. Now, they could get their goods to market and earn some money. But as subsistence farming changes as a result of entering the market economy, with access to machines and technology, fewer and fewer farmers are needed to grow enough food. As more and more young people who might have been farmers go to work in factories or service industries for access to goods and entertainment, the traditional lifestyle that's centered around the production of food is undergoing rapid change. What was a proud life creating sustenance for the community too often becomes a laborer at the bottom rung of the economic ladder. Access to electricity in these remote villages was impossible for a long time. Later, villages near rivers and streams used simple bamboo water wheels to generate electricity. Now even those are being replaced with solar panels, making electricity available almost everywhere. Access to transportation and communications have had many positive effects, but as evidence of a flourishing sex and slave trade attests, they present problems as well. In the isolated, mountainous regions of the Golden Triangle, cultural traditions developed slowly over hundreds of years. Homemade, traditional clothes now give way to the fashion of global culture: jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers. But cultural pride still dictates traditional dress for special occasions. Advances in transportation and communications in the 21st century mean an end to isolation and an end to a way of life, but not necessarily an end to this rich cultural heritage.
What did you say?
I said I'm from Mia.
By what?
Please.
What? Show me.
Okay? Yes, sir.
No.